Hello everyone, your weather hazard briefing for Wednesday, January 4th continues to advertise some off and on precipitation, mostly snow. See some mix of rain and snow on our lower elevations off and on through the next few days. That will continue into the early part of next week. We still have a little bit of light snow, patchy fog stratus, that cedar feeder impact effect over portions of eastern Idaho, especially the Snake Plain, Magic Valley into the eastern highlands. However, that's really not going to be much of an issue, at least on a widespread basis after today. We have a better chance of precipitation starting later tonight, but really Thursday into Friday, especially the first half of Friday. Things east of I-15, that's where we're going to see the higher precipitation amounts. We have a lull Saturday, and then from Sunday onward, that chance of rain and snow increases. We do have a southwest flow developing as we go into the weekend of the early part of next week. We'll see a few spots getting above freezing here in the next couple of days, but we're going to start to see a little bit more of that, at least on a daily basis, heading into the early part of next week. Big area of low pressure, a pretty good fetch of Pacific moisture back towards Hawaii and even beyond that into the western Pacific. What's different this time around is, we had that big prolonged period of that Pacific long fetch of Pacific moisture over us with this last event. That's not going to be the case this time. We're going to see waves of moisture coming through. A lot of it's going to be dumped to our south and west. It doesn't look like it has a big, huge push into our area at this point right now. And this area of low pressure is going to stay to our west for the next few days. So the low itself is not going to be pushing into us and bringing a better prolonged chance of moisture. That's going to be coming in across California. For the weather risk outlook, we don't have much impacts today. Better impacts for tomorrow across our higher elevations. Friday is going to be interesting. There is the potential. It's not a big chance. It's one of those deals. It's a low chance but a higher impact event Friday morning. Right now, we're looking at the 10 to 20% probability at most of seeing a couple of inches out across the Snake Plain. We're talking Pocatello up towards Blackfoot and Idaho Falls out in the Arco Desert. Most of the precipitation is going to be east of I-15, but still that little bit of a chance Friday morning in the Snake Plain. Not much Saturday. Sunday, we'll start to see the moisture increasing. The Central Mountains will see a little better chance of maybe a little more impacts on Sunday, but getting into next week, that's when we start to see some more moisture moving across our area. So where are we looking at for today? Notice we don't have a lot going on. That cedar feeder will continue over this part of the state, especially I-15 eastward. Going into the rest of the morning, not much going on other than that. Now we go into this afternoon and this evening. There's that first push of moisture with that system, and it kind of falls apart. We talk about the cedar feeder process. We might see a little bit of that late tonight, early tomorrow morning. Again, the upper part of the plain up towards Island Park with that band moving over. And then we go into tomorrow. We start to see more rain and snow moving in. And this will continue especially into tomorrow night, into Friday morning as we go through the period, and then that will continue to slowly drift across the area as we go through Friday. It looks like some rain will be mixing in, especially across portions of the Snake Plain and Magic Valley, and those valleys down towards like Oakley, Holbrook, and those areas as well with this event on Friday. So let's go back and look at a few more specific details of the forecast. There we're talking about that light snow flurry activity for today. Very light amounts. Some of this is not going to amount to more than some flurries. You might go out on your car or out on the street and see a little bit of very, very light snow accumulating at times during today. Wind gusts this morning, they're generally light. Now, the ridgetop winds about 10 to 20, maybe some of the gap winds basically coming out of the south along into the Snake Plain and Magic Valley around 15 to 20. Also, we've got the down valley wind coming across the lava beds towards Jerome Butte, where those gusts will be around 20 to 25 miles per hour. Temperatures for today, you start to see those above freezing temperatures creeping up towards Pocatello. Burley in the mid-30s, maybe near 40 as you head back into the Treasure Valley. Otherwise, the rest of us sitting below freezing for this afternoon in terms of high temperatures. You see the winds picking up ahead of this at least first system coming through. Some of these ridgetop winds, especially in the Central Mountains, down across the South Hills and the Albion Mountains in excess of 30 miles per hour. 30 to 35 across, again, the lava beds, from craters to the lava beds back into the Treasure Valley coming from the north and to the east. Otherwise, gusts around 10 to 20 miles per hour. And for tonight, we start to see those gap winds down south increasing from the south. Burley, Minidoka, American Falls, 20 to 30 mile an hour gusts, potentially near 40 in some areas, especially the higher elevations, and that down valley push coming across through the Jerome area for tonight. Snow amounts, not much of anything, but we getting a little bit of snow to fall with some of those gusty winds. A little bit of blowing snow is certainly a possibility. Impacts at this point don't look terribly significant at this time. For tomorrow morning, those wind gusts don't really change too much. Into the afternoon, they start to let up a little bit, but you see the similar pattern. Gap winds from the south, down valley winds through the Magic Valley. Elsewhere, southerly winds developing around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Some of those ridgetop gusts in excess of 30 miles an hour at times. And you see with the southerly flow, we have a little better chance later tomorrow. A couple of inches through the Wood River Valley, also up towards the Arco Desert, that side of the Central Mountains. 1 to 3 inches with the upslope flow going into the Monida Pass, Spencer area, into the Island Park area. Otherwise, very light accumulations again expected across the area. For tomorrow, you can see those temperatures warming up. Driggs above freezing, mid to upper 30s from Rexburg all the way down to Pocatello, where we're looking at low to mid 40s as you head west towards the Treasure Valley and Boise. Mid to upper 30s near 40 down south as well. Stanley 35, right near freezing along the U.S. High 93 corridor from Chalice up through Limhi County. And those wind gusts start to die down tomorrow evening, tomorrow night into Friday. There is this snow potential we're talking about across the Arco Desert Thursday night into Friday. Initially, it might be a little bit of a downslope from like around American Falls up through Blackfoot. Where we don't see the downslope, a couple of inches of snow is possible across the Arco Desert. Like I said, not a high chance at this point. There's a 10% to 20% chance at best of seeing over an inch, but again, timing that out Friday morning might be a little bit of a slick drive in the morning. Otherwise, light amounts, some folks seeing an inch or two possible Thursday night as well. Gusts into Friday, they don't really get too bad, maybe some gusts up near 20 at times. And you can see Friday morning we lose that downslope. There is still that low potential but higher impact. Snowfall from Idaho Falls back down towards American Falls to the Pocatello area. Otherwise, light amounts over into the eastern and southeast highlands. 1 to 3 inches are possible in the highest elevations. A couple of spots may peak just above 3 inches during that period. We back off a little bit temperature-wise on Friday, but still many areas close to freezing, if not above freezing, especially from the South Hills, the Magic Valley westward. And for Friday night, we start to see that snow tapering off once again. Saturday, not much different than Friday temperature-wise, and the same for Sunday. So we talk about these warm temperatures. Like we said, what's different this time around from the last event? A very prolonged warm stretch coming through. We had a lot of moisture, rain on snow. We're not looking at that at this time. We're not looking at necessarily temperatures in the morning getting above freezing. Once you get into next week, there's only about a 20 to 40% chance in that Idaho Falls to Burley corridor south, the lower elevations, only a 20 to 40% chance of it getting above 32 degrees. So the key to a lot of the high, when we get into these situations with increasing snow melt and runoff, especially in the middle of the winter, it's the idea of having warm overnight lows, and that's not looking to be the case with this event. Not to mention, not a lot of rain on snow expected. So again, a little bit of cedar feeder, so light snow. We got some patchy fog around for this morning. An increasing chance later today, but certainly tomorrow into the first part of Friday, and then again Sunday onward. Again, the highlands, at least with this first event, the eastern and southeast highlands look to get the best, highest amounts of precipitation going into next weekend. We'll just have to see how things go in terms of where the pattern sets up. But that southwest flow ahead of that low, we're going to have some more warmer temperatures and for some of our lower valleys and plain locations. Have a great Wednesday out there and stay safe, everyone.